Hi, I'm Nairy from Bossing, and welcome to the Cerberus Fight Guide. In this video, I'll be showing you anything and everything to do with the Cerberus encounter. If you would like more information on this guide, or any other guide we've released, click more info on the movie information box on YouTube to learn more. Also be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button to the right to be automatically notified as we release new guides. There will be timestamps in this video, so feel free to skip ahead if you're already well versed with a particular section. Cerberus is a level 318 demon requiring 91 Slayer and a Hellhound Slayer task to kill. Players can kill Cerberus with a lower Slayer level by using a Wild Pie for the +5 Slayer level boost, but to avoid interruptions during the fight, it's recommended you minimise the Slayer level difference to as low as possible. She can be found within the north side of the Taverley dungeon. Players with 80 agility can use the shortcut just north of the ladder into Taverley dungeon, or through the pipe adjacent to the ladder with 70 agility. If you're using the pipe shortcut, you might want to consider bringing an anti-poison, as you'll pass a number of poison spiders on the way. Players should remember that they can use a summer pie to boost their agility level by +5, so they may use these shortcuts at a lower level. Players should follow the path up or around to the north side of the dungeon, where upon entering they'll be finally able to take any one of the 3 paths into Cerberus's chamber. As she is only level 318, your stats should be high enough to kill her by the time you reach a Slayer level high enough to attack Cerberus. Currently, there are 2 methods to kill Cerberus, one with range and the other with melee. As she only has 100 defense and +100 range defense, weapons such as a blowpipe, MSB or a twisted bow are more than sufficient to kill her. Additionally, she is weakest to crush, followed by stab weapons, so a Scythe of Vitur set to crush or an Arclight set to stab prove very effective against Cerberus. She is a relatively simple boss to kill with only a handful of mechanics. She can attack with all 3 combat styles, mage, range and melee, each with a max hit of 23 which can be protected against through prayers. The mage attack can be seen when she leans forward and releases a smooth ball at a player. The ranged attack can be seen when she stands up on her hind legs and fires a spiked ball at the player. And the melee attack can be seen when she leans forward and into a player. During the fight, Cerberus remains at the centre of the room, so if players opt to kill her with range, they don't necessarily need to worry about her melee attacks, as she will mostly attack with mage and range outside of one of her abilities. As her offensive stats are not very high, players should not be worried about taking much, if any, damage from her standard attacks. For the vast majority of the fight, you'll be camping Prey Mage, as this is the most common attack she uses. In total, she has 3 unique abilities. The first is the triple attack, where she attacks with a mage, then range, then melee attack in quick succession, and she does this very infrequently. Immediately, at the start of the fight, then every 10 attacks thereafter. Each attack is 1.2 seconds apart, and even if you are stood outside of melee range, the melee attack will still hit you. The second ability is Triple Souls. Cerberus howls and calls upon 3 souls to help her, a mage, a range and a melee attacking soul, which each deal a single 30 damage attack in quick succession before despawning. The order in which the attacks go is dependent on where the soul is standing. The first attack is from the leftmost soul, then the middle and finally the right hand soul. The order in which they spawn and consequently attack is random, but the attacks can be prayed against to reduce all incoming damage, but at the cost of reducing your prayer points by 30 instead for each hit prayed against. The final ability Cerberus uses is Lava Pools. Cerberus will growl and send 3 projectiles towards the player, which upon impact deal 15 damage and spawn a lava pool at that location, which continues to deal 15 damage every 1.2 seconds while standing on, or 7 damage every 1.8 seconds while standing next to it. Simply move out and away from these. This is not something I would suggest you focus on when starting out, but Cerberus does attack in a fixed rotation, so if you want to count the attacks and keep track of her health, you can work out which type of attack is next. As I said, this isn't something I would stress over as the fight is relatively straightforward. The only combination of attacks which you need to be aware of is if Cerberus spawns lava pools and summons the 3 souls at the same time, or if Cerberus spawns lava pools in addition to using her triple attack. When you start out, in these situations I would just suggest you eat and maintain a high health. Learning when each of the attacks will happen and how to correctly pray against them will come in time. Even if you can't pray mage, only 2 of the other attacks will hit you from either of the triple attack dealing a max hit of 46 or the summoned souls which would deal 60 damage. Just make sure your health is above 80 in these situations and you'll be safe and sound. With the triple attack, all you need to do is change your prayers as soon as you see the animation start for the previous attack style. So as you're camping Prey Mage, once you see that the first animation goes off, immediately change to your range prayer, then as soon as you see the range animation start, immediately switch to your melee prayer. In a similar manner to the triple attack, all you need to do is change prayers as soon as you see the animation start for the previous attack style. Once you see that the first animation goes off, immediately change to your next prayer, then as soon as you see the next animation start, immediately switch to your final prayer. A good way to easily see when to switch prayers is to stand at the eastern or western side of Cerberus, and as soon as you see the soul turn towards you, you can switch to the next prayer. As the summoned souls each drain 30 prayer for each of their single attacks, if you have access to a spectral spirit shield, equip it for the duration of the soul's attacks to reduce the prayer drain by 50%. If you've unlocked the Arceus spellbook, make use of any of the thralls. Depending on your gear, the fight lasts for around a minute, so you just need to summon a thrall around once per fight. As the fight isn't very long and the defense level of Cerberus is so low, opt to use special attacks weapons such as dragon claws, a toxic blowpipe or a dragon dagger, over weapons such as a Bando's godsword or dragon warhammer. If you opt to go the melee route, a scythe set to crush with inquisitors will be your best option if you have access to these items. As you can see on screen now, if you don't have access to inquisitors, don't bother using a scythe as the DPS over an arc light set on stab is marginal at best. Cerberus can easily be killed with a low cost setup, so just swap your gear as appropriate for your budget. Now for the range setup, if you have access to it, a twisted bow will undoubtedly be your best option as Cerberus's mage level is relatively high compared to the rest of her stats. Your next best options will be with a toxic blowpipe, then a bow of third Heinen. These rankings are not expected to change with a potential release of the Missouri armor set. From the DPS figures you can see that the melee setups tend to out DPS their range counterparts, so unless you plan on bringing Inquisitors with a Scythe and a Blood Fury for extended trips, opt to kill Cerberus with range where possible. Your inventory setup will be dependent on how many kills you're looking to do per trip, but for an arbitrary 5 kill trip, I suggest bringing 7 prayer potions and a ranged super defense combination or bastion potion, then fill the rest of your inventory with food such as sharks or monkfish. If you plan on doing more kills per trip, just swap prayer potions for food as appropriate, and of course if you have access to a spectral spirit shield, bring slightly fewer prayer potions. After a trip or two you should be able to work out roughly how many prayer potions you'll need for your gear setup. I hope you found this guide useful. If you have any suggestions, be sure to comment below for others to see and pick up on. Also, if you would like to know more about this fight, video, or any additional fights, click the show more button at the bottom of this video for more information and subscribe to see future releases.